Imagine a situation comedy set in the year 1485. It all started out that way 7 years ago for Blackadder. Now, Blackadder I've had described to me as a wicked, witty, and rude character that stars in a British TV show. Blackadder is actually shown in the States as well. We've seen it several different times, and the star of that show is actor and comedian Rowan Atkinson, who is here with me this morning. I think you've had probably a lot of fun with this show. For those who haven't had a chance to see it, we'll show them right now a scene from the show. I think this is actually Blackadder's wedding day. Take a look at this. Here we go. I saw this show described somewhere as a situation tragedy. I love the expression. Would you want to explain that?
Well, I don't know. It's just because it's so unlike most situation comedies. I mean, the idea of it is it's supposed to be funny, obviously, but at the same time it's historical, and the original inspiration for the first series was Shakespeare. Although since then we've done 4 series, and every series is set in a different century. So we started off in Shakespearean times, kind of 1500s-ish. But
could it come all the way forward?
Yeah, no. In the last series that we did at the end of last year, which I don't think has been shown in the States yet, but it will be soon, was set in the First World War in 1916.
So eventually Blackadder will get up to the 1990s.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the idea is that everyone dies at the end of every series, and then you start again with their descendants 100 years later.
Which is kind of the way it is here in your country.
Yeah, exactly.
However, I've been told that it has an American influence.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is. It's bound to appeal, I feel, to Americans more than most British situation comedies, certainly, because the hero is quite cool. Because generally English comic characters are quite downtrodden and rather stupid.
Yeah, they're kind of losers.
And look silly and are losers. Whereas, you know, you would never describe Eddie Murphy or Steve Martin necessarily as, you know, unattractive or downtrodden. They tend to be rather cool guys.
Yeah, our hero always has to be a hero.
Your comic heroes are cool, whereas our comic heroes tend to be very uncool. Whereas the Blackadder, the part that I play, that he is cool. He's a cool guy.
Now, you also did another show for British television over here called Not the 9 O'Clock News.
That's right.
Now, we have a show in our country, as you well know, called Not Necessarily the News, which is really based on your show. Is that flattering to be emulated, or do you feel they ripped you off?
Well, it's a fine line. It's a fine line between being flattered and regretting that, because I have a feeling that on occasion, consciously or no, they have taken ideas of ours and adapted them to the American market. But that's fair enough, because there's no copyright on comedy, so I think it's unreasonable to think that your comic ideas should be your very own. No, I think it's flattering, and what I'm pleased about is that it's still running, is that it's still good.
It's very popular.
It's still there,
Did I read that you're doing a pilot, Mr. Bean?
Mr. Bean.
Mr. Bean.
Yeah,
but and did I read that it's a silent character?
It is. It's a
Bean?
verb. Yeah, it's virtually wordless. Yes. In fact, I've just come back from Montreux in Switzerland this morning because it was entered for an international television festival called the Golden Rose of Montreux, and we won't know the results till 5:30 this afternoon. But we were told that we were in. We were in the running for the winners, but we'll have to see.
That sounds like a terribly difficult project to do, though, to do something like that and have it still be interesting.
Absolutely. It was based on some one-man stage routines of mine that I've been doing for about 10 years. And although a lot of the one-man show I do is very verbal, quite a lot of it is very visual. And I felt that it was time to try and capture that on film. And it's quite a tradition, because the Marx Brothers most of their films were based on stage.
But it would be hard to do that in America today on television, perhaps.
Well, it would be, but then, you've got to see Mr. Bean, because I certainly wouldn't want to do visual comedy that only appealed to a minority. I mean, I think it is genuinely accessible and fun, and the laughs come at a constant rate.
So maybe we'll eventually see that in the U.S. as well.
You'll eventually see it. Yeah, we're talking about it to some American people.
Well, the Blackadder is terribly funny, terribly funny.
Thank you very much indeed. You're very kind.
It's nice to meet you.
Thank you.
And we'll be back with more from London and Belfast when we continue. Stay with us.